Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, where horror and adventure collide in the world of the undead. Today, we've got something truly chilling for you, a spine-tingling tale set in the frozen wastelands of the Arctic. Picture this, a remote research station, buried deep in the snow, where a group of scientists are making groundbreaking discoveries. Until the unthinkable happens. An ancient virus reanimates the dead, turning the cold, quiet wilderness into a nightmare. Now, with the storm closing in, and the undead creeping ever closer, the survivors must fight, not just for their lives but for answers. We're all about thrilling, high-stakes zombie horror here, and your comments are incredibly valuable to us. We want to know what you think of the story, what scares you the most, what characters you're rooting for, and what kind of zombie apocalypse you'd want to see next. So, let us know in the comments below what you think. Do you love the chilling isolation of an Arctic outbreak, or do you want more intense, action-packed zombie battles? Your feedback helps shape our next terrifying adventure. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Your voice matters here at the Zombie Story Zone.
The blizzard raged outside the isolated Arctic research station, a relentless howl of wind and ice that seemed to strip the world of color and warmth. Within the steel walls of the base, however, a different kind of storm was brewing, one of fear, panic, and death. And it all began with a single, chilling discovery. Dr. Isabelle Westbrook stared out through the small observation window, her breath fogging up the glass. The world beyond was an unending white wasteland, a stretch of nothingness that made her feel both incredibly small and impossibly alone. A long way from the comforts of her former life in New York, she had come here in search of something greater, knowledge, prestige, the kind of career-changing breakthrough that could propel her to the front of scientific circles. But now, months into her stint at the Arctic Research Station, it was clear she had found something far more sinister. "Are those people?" Isabelle whispered, her voice thick with disbelief. Liam nodded grimly. "That's what we thought at first, but we went out there to check, and we found, well, you can see the bodies yourself. They're dead, Isabelle, dead and walking." The discovery of the reanimated corpses sent the entire research station into a state of emergency. Dr. Westbrook, Liam, and the rest of the scientific team, 4 researchers in total, were among the few who knew what was happening, as the rest of the staff, including the security guards, were completely in the dark. They had been told nothing, and their one escape route, the transport helicopters, had been grounded for repairs. The storm had already shut down their connection to the outside world, and no one knew when or if they would ever get the chance to leave. Isabelle paced nervously around the small lab where they had gathered, checking the monitor every few minutes to see if the team had been working on cutting-edge research in viral genetics for the past few months, focusing on mutations in cold-weather organisms. They had stumbled upon something strange in the DNA of a prehistoric bacterium that had been preserved in the permafrost. A genetic anomaly. At first, it was merely an exciting find, another piece of the puzzle in understanding how life had evolved in the harshest environments on Earth. But then, during their last experiment, something had gone terribly wrong. "We were using the bacterium's genetic sequence to create a sort of biological marker, something that could make future viral detection easier in extreme conditions. We didn't anticipate that one of the samples would reactivate," Isabelle explained, her voice trembling slightly as she replayed the terrifying events in her mind. "We need to contain this," Liam said, his eyes hard. "Before it spreads any further, it was already too late for that." The research station, once a place of hope and discovery, had become a prison. As the hours wore on, more figures appeared outside the base, shambling through the snow with a relentless hunger. They were not like the slow-moving zombies often depicted in movies. These creatures moved with a strange purpose, their eyes glazed over, and their bodies stiff with the rigor mortis of death. But there was something eerily intelligent about them. Some of them even carried weapons, tools they had scavenged from the station. They were adapting, evolving, just as the virus had done. By midnight, the situation had grown dire. The station was nearly surrounded, and there were more than 20 of the reanimated corpses out there. The researchers had barricaded themselves inside, but it wouldn't be long before the zombies breached their fragile defenses. "We have to go deeper," Isabelle said, her voice tight with desperation. "There's a sub-level bunker. We can seal ourselves in and wait for the storm to clear. Maybe someone will come for us." I'm not sure the bunker will be enough, Liam said. If the virus is as contagious as we think, then it could be in the air by now. We might be breathing it in as we speak. Then we do what we can, Isabelle said, trying to maintain some semblance of control. We gather supplies and make our way to the bunker. We don't have any other options. The team quickly gathered what they could: medications, equipment, and enough food and water to last them for a week, maybe 2. Then, with trembling hands, they descended into the lower levels of the station, leaving behind the lab where their work had turned into a nightmare. Hours passed, and the sound of the wind outside seemed to echo through the sterile walls of the bunker. The temperature was dropping, and the dim light cast long shadows in the narrow hallways. The group huddled together, trying to stay warm and preserve what little hope they had left. But even in the dark, they could hear it: the soft shuffle of dead feet, the occasional scrape of someone moving against the metal walls. Then came the scream. It was a high-pitched, inhuman shriek that sliced through the silence like a knife. Everyone froze, eyes wide, terror rising in their throats. Isabelle's heart hammered in her chest. What was that? Liam's face had gone pale, his hand gripping the gun they had found earlier, a small pistol meant for emergencies. I think one of them is inside the base, and then, to their horror, they heard the unmistakable sound of the door to the bunker rattling, metal scraping against metal. The figures outside weren't just standing around, they were trying to get in. Isabelle turned to her team. Get ready. We need to hold them off until help arrives. But deep down, she knew that help wasn't coming. The night dragged on in a blur of chaos and blood. The zombies no longer just corpses, but twisted, mutated versions of the people they once were broke through the outer door. They came at the team with the singular determination of predators. Despite their grotesque appearance, they moved with unnatural speed and cunning, using tools to pry open barricades. One by one, the team was picked off. Dr. Anna Gray, the paleontologist who had joined the team for her expertise in ancient viruses, was the first to go. She had been separated from the others in the chaos, and when Isabelle found her again, it was too late. Anna was already one of them, her eyes glazed over with the familiar hunger. Liam and Isabelle were the last to left. With nowhere to run and no hope of escape, they barricaded themselves in the lab once more, clutching their weapons, trying to stay as quiet as possible. But there was no silence in the Arctic anymore. The dead were coming, and this time, they were smarter than ever. As the storm continued to rage outside, the future of the research station remained uncertain. The virus, an ancient force from beneath the frozen earth, wasn't done yet. It had adapted, evolved, and now it was more than a threat to the station. It was the beginning of something far worse. For Isabelle, the fight for survival had become a battle for answers, a search for a way to stop what had already begun to spread across the world. But in the frozen wasteland, there were no easy answers. And soon, there would be no one left to find them.